Alright guys, welcome back to the channel, and in today's video, from what is from behind me, we are going to go through all the parts that you need to turbocharge your Crosstrek or Impreza the right way. So again, the parts behind me, all are not 100% necessary. Some are definitely highly recommended, but I will tell you throughout this video if you need it or you don't, and kind of what my suggestion is, but let's get on to it. Alright guys, so before I start pulling parts out and telling you exactly what you do need, I do want to give a huge shout out to Neo at NJDRSUBARU. I will put a link down to his Instagram below. Without him and his time, patience, expertise, knowledge, I wouldn't be where I am today, and I wouldn't have been able to remotely know exactly what to get. So Neo, if you're watching this, thank you so much, man. I am extremely grateful. I know I had not mentioned it in the video before, but he is definitely one of the kindest people I've met, and he is extremely helpful in all of this. So if you are looking to turbocharge your car, he is also a AVO dealer. He has 27 years of Subaru experience. He has a shop in New Jersey. I will link it down below. So if you're in the States or in the New Jersey area and you're looking to do this, definitely hit him up. He is incredible. So let's get on with the video. Cheers. Alright guys, so what I'm gonna do is start pulling parts out, putting it on the table behind me. I'll just do a little time lapse. They are going to be in no particular order, but I'm going to let you know exactly what you need and if you need it or not, just so you can save money here and there. Again, I am not going to put links to most, if not all, the products, just because some were either bought on discount, on deals, on sales. So obviously the prices are going to fluctuate from, you know, Canadian to US, you name it, wherever you get it, but I will help you guys and be as thorough as possible. So let's get on with it. Alright guys, before we jump into the parts that are just behind you, obviously the turbo kit is here. These two boxes is the stage 1 turbo kit for the 2017 Crosstrek from AVO Turbo. I'm not going to pull it out, they're heavy, it's got a lot of parts in it, and if you have the kit, you know what's in it. So next, I just have a little list in front of me of parts that are obviously not here. They are on the car currently, or just some other recommendations. So first, would be getting a AOS, an air oil separator, or a catch can. I run a catch can on my car. It's from Amazon. It's, I believe, Evil Energy. I'll link it below. The reason why I run a catch can on mine is because I do drive the car in the winter and cold climate here in Canada. When the car gets hot and then I am not driving it, you know, overnight, the heat and the cold creates condensation. That gets condensation in your oil lines, and instead of an AOS recirculating it back in around, it'll be caught in your catch can, so it'll kind of look milkshakey sometimes in the winter. That is condensation and oil mixing, and instead of that going back in your motor, it is caught in the catch can. So that's why I recommend a catch can, but also you may get a bit of blow by with the turbo kit, so a catch can or an AOS is a must in my mind, depending where you live. Secondly would be a skid plate. So whether you are lifted or lowered, I would recommend a skid plate, as this kit is not cheap, and you do want to protect your car. You're going to be protecting the turbo, the exhaust manifold itself, and your oil pan. I have the Primitive Racing skid plate on my car. I love it. It is nice and thick, and it has protected it so far. Thirdly, we're going to talk about exhaust. Bare minimum, obviously the kit replaces your header on the car. I would get a nice catback exhaust, and that will help with exhaust flow, get a little bit more power there. If you can, I would upgrade your front cat pipe or down pipe, however you like to call it, either to, you know, 2.5 inch or 3 inch if you can do it. but at the bare minimum, a catback would be a solid investment. Next, if you do have the Crawford power blocks on your car, they are not for turbo application, so those are going to be coming off. When you are taking those off the car, the intake manifold is obviously going to be coming off, and you're going to have access to your TGVs. While you're at it, if you want to delete your TGVs, which I will be doing, but we'll get into that on a later video, you can remove the flaps in there, and while you're taking off the EGR pipe to go back to removing your Crawford power blocks, you can do an EGR delete as well if you want to. I will go into that in a little bit. Next, these are some other little things. You are increasing the horsepower on your car, so you're wanting to do some stopping power. So I'm going to get into that again. Another thing would be to switch your weight of oil out. So these cars factory run OW20. You're going to want to at least switch to a 5W30 or 5W40 depending where you live. If you're in a climate that's extremely hot, 5W40 would not be a bad idea. For here, 5W30 is perfect. That's what the car has been running for a bit now. Just a nice full synthetic, whatever you choose. With the kit, obviously a higher octane fuel is my recommendation. If you're doing this, I would no longer run 87 octane in the car, whatever it recommends from factory. I've been running 94 octane here in Canada from Petro for the longest time now. That's what the car is tuned on, so that's what it's going to be tuned on again. But whatever high octane you can get wherever you are is my recommendation. 91, 93, 94, you name it. 91 would probably be the minimum on this that I would recommend to run. Higher octane fuels have a higher resistance to pre-detonation and knock, so safety there. Again, this kit, I believe you can buy it with a Ecutech license or a base map from AVO, but my car has already been tuned by Xtreme Racing Tuning, and he's going to be retuning it again. So I do already have a Tactrix open port cable and the Subaru Edit software, but those are some other things that you're going to have to purchase to obviously tune the car. Another final thing would be a ultra gauge, and you guys obviously know I have that in the car. It is really nice at monitoring some other things, oil temp, coolant, RPM, whatever. I have a video on all the things I like to monitor, as well as some gauges that I'm going to talk about in a second. But if you can afford to pick up an ultra gauge, it is not a bad addition to the car. So let's get into the other parts, guys. Alright guys, so just before I get into the other parts, take everything with a grain of salt. Obviously this is not a cheap endeavor, and whatever you can do to get the best outcome, best reliability, best efficiency out of this kit and with your car, do it. If you need to not do some things that I've recommended or suggested, that is all cool, but these are all going to be my suggestions and recommendations from my experience. And yeah, let's get on to the other stuff. Alright guys, in no particular order, I'm going to go through kind of what is on the table. Again, don't forget that the kit does include a vast majority of this stuff, but these are either some additions that I would have liked, you name it. So the first thing here is the MA Performance 13-row oil cooler kit for the BRZ. So again, thank you to Neo and all his knowledge. He has obviously done a majority of the stuff on his car. A lot of these are his suggestions, so thank you. So this is the 13-row oil cooler kit, and the reason why I would suggest the 13-row instead of a 19-row is because you are going to be limited on space behind the bumper. So a 13-row oil cooler is perfect. This is what it looks like. It does have a thermostatic sandwich plate, so this will open up at 85 degrees Celsius to allow oil flow into the oil cooler. So obviously you want your oil to be hot enough, but obviously not too cold. So this is a perfect recommendation for the kit, and I would say this is a must, because with the kit you're going to be increasing the temperatures of your oil and other things. This will keep your oil nice and cool. So you do not have to obviously go with the MA Performance oil cooler kit. You could look around, you could build your own one, but I do know this one fits 100%. This is the 13-row one for the BRZ. You could probably get a Mishimoto, Setrab, or other. Again, just do your research, but I do know that this MA Performance one fits. And again, this is for the BRZ. Alright guys, just before I forget, on the terms of cooling, if you do have a CVT, again, I do have a manual transmission, so I am not going to have to worry about it, but a CVT cooler would definitely not be a bad idea as well. If you have one already, definitely you can reuse that, but a CVT cooler might be a nice addition with this oil cooler. And again, as I had mentioned earlier, as you're going to be switching to a 5W30 or 5W40 synthetic oil, it would not be a bad idea as well to switch out to one-step colder spark plugs. You're going to be in the engine bay, you're going to be taking a lot of things apart, so I'm switching to maybe a NGK Iridium, I believe, NGK one-step colder plug would not be a bad idea. Obviously depending on your mileage, but that is my recommendation. Alright guys, so earlier I was talking about brakes. Obviously, as you are going to be increasing the horsepower on your car, having adequate braking power is a must in my opinion. Right here, this is just a can of ATE high temp brake fluid. That's what I am running in the car currently. I do have StopTech stainless steel lines front and rear, and when I do install a kit, I have a set of StopTech street pads front and rear and StopTech rotors, and that will be an adequate amount of stopping power for the car. Again, you guys pick what you kind of want to do in terms of braking, but braking is a must in my opinion. Alright, next, again, this is in no particular order. I've got a set of gauges over here. So here I do have a oil pressure gauge from AEM, and then I do have an air fuel ratio gauge from Innovate, and then a boost gauge under there from Innovate as well. On the car, I did forget to mention, I do have the SMY tachometer cluster for 53 mil gauge pods, and I do have a SMY defroster gauge pod for this 53 mil oil pressure gauge. In my opinion, these are a must, getting nice gauges for the car. Obviously, these are very important things to be monitoring: air fuel ratio, boost pressure, and oil pressure. In terms of gauges, I would not cheap out, as sensors and all that are going to be of lesser quality. The cheaper of gauges you go, you obviously want these to last, and if you pony up now, it'll pay for it in the future. AEM, Innovator, all perfect brands. These are really nice gauges, and that will help you monitor all the stuff with the turbo kit, along with the ultra gauge if you want, but the ultra gauge is not a must. These are a must, these 3 gauges. Okay, next we are going to go on to fueling. So right here I have a Deechworks 300C fuel pump, and this is for the 15 plus new version WRX. For at least for my my year 2016 to 17, Subaru changed the fuel pump architecture. So the turbo kit itself actually does come with a higher flow fuel pump. Unfortunately, I could not use that, so I had to source a different fuel pump. So if you have a 16 to 17 Crosstrek, you'll need a fuel pump like myself for the 15 plus WRX, a Deechworks 65C, 300C, AEM 340, those will be all adequate. I got the 300C, but that'll be enough for fueling. In fueling as well, you are going to need to get a set of injectors. So these are dark blue WRX 565cc injectors. They're from a 2013 WRX. Use the 2011 to 2014 WRX injectors if you're going to find them. I got these used, but they do have a rebuild kit with them. They've been flow tested. They are in good shape, low mileage. As you are going to be upgrading your fuel pump, you're going to need adequate injectors for the car. So these aren't supplied with the kit, but you're going to need to pick up a set of 565cc injectors. Alright guys, another must for the kit is picking up a manifold absolute pressure sensor, or more known as a MAP sensor. This is a Omni 4-bar MAP sensor for the BRZ, and this is going to plug into your stock intake manifold, and this will allow your tuner to see the boost pressure inside the manifold. The car does have a MAP sensor, but it cannot monitor boost, so you're going to need to pick up one of these guys. This is a must as well. Keep going forward. In order to plug your oil pressure sensor into the block, you're going to need a Killer Bee dual sender adapter. This will go into your short block, and you tee it off of a oil galley, and you can plug the sensor back in and a return line. This is a must as well. Again, some of the stuff is not provided with the kit, but I will have links to everything. You're going to need this adapter. Alright guys, so as I was saying before, if your car has already been equipped with Crawford power blocks, you're going to have to remove them when doing this install. They are not meant for turbo application, so if you have them on the car, obviously listen to this bit. If you don't, you can go and skip ahead, and this is kind of redundant. So obviously when you're taking off the power blocks, you're going to have access to your TGVs and your EGR system. If you do want to delete your TGVs like I'm going to be doing, go ahead and do that. If not, don't worry. I'm going to be doing an EGR delete as well. So I have a IAG EGR delete here, and this is for the FA20 WRX. On the FB20, all you do is use these block off plates. It does come with coolant hoses, but the coolant system on the FB20 and the FA20 is different. All you need to do is use the block off plates. Your tuner is going to have to turn off the codes for the EGR system as you are deleting it. Same with the TGVs, but that is all part of the tuning process. With that out of the way, we're going to go on to a little bit of more cooling. So the turbo kit itself actually does come with a heat shield, so to speak, to obviously cover the turbo, expelling radiant heat in the engine bay, but the heat shield itself is pretty minimal, lackluster in my opinion. So what I did get, and this is all from Neo's experience, this is a Torque Solution turbo blanket, and this is for a FA20 stock location turbo. They are very similar, they're low mount, the same frame and shape is the same. This is the turbo blanket you're gonna need. You don't have to pick up a Torque Solution one. You can pick up anything for a FA20 WRX stock location turbo. That is gonna do much better than the heat shield supplied with the kit. This is obviously not 100% needed, but again, I do want to keep my engine bay temperatures, my intake temps, my oil temps, my fluid temps down as much as I can. So in my mind, this is a must, but it is not needed as there is one supplied with the kit. And lastly, if I haven't forgot anything, I have this Cobb SF intake. So this is for the 08 to 14 WRX. It's the GR chassis. It is just a Cobb SF. It's not a big SF. That year of WRX and STI, I believe, didn't have the big SF supplied, but The kit itself does come with a turbo backing for the airbox, so that obviously the piping can connect to it. You're going to be getting rid of the back portion of your factory airbox. If you don't want as much turbo induction noises and you want it to be a bit more of a sleeper, by all means use the intake with the kit. But if you want a little bit more, you know, turbo noises and whatever you gain from doing an intake, you can get a Cobb SF for the 08 to 14 WRX, and that'll fit in there quite nicely. Alright guys, one final recommendation. I keep thinking of stuff as I'm putting things away, but it wouldn't hurt to have spare clips, hardware around, just in case when you're taking apart things, you know, may lose clips, break clips, you name it. So I do have a nice little resource of clips for your, you know, bumper, cowl, you name it, whatever you're taking apart, that cannot hurt while doing this installation. Again, this Cobb intake is not necessary. It is just, again, something that I wanted to do, but take everything with a grain of salt, you guys. It is obviously not a cheap endeavor. Do what you can. Pick and choose here and there. Let me know down in the comments what you think. Again, I'm here to help. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me at rumble.hatch on Instagram, or to shoot me a comment in the description or comment section below. Again, I do want to say a huge shout out to Neo at NJDRSUBARU. If it wasn't for him and his expertise, I wouldn't be here. He helped me with basically everything here. So if you guys are in the US or in the New Jersey area and you're looking for a mechanic, modifications, doing a turbo kit like this, definitely hit him up. I will link his Instagram down below, and I hope you guys have a good one. Thank you so much. Cheers.